Picture this. The heart of America's industrial might, Detroit, Motor City itself, teetering on the edge of collapse. A Chinese juggernaut, BYD, has just lobbed a grenade into the auto world, claiming their revolutionary battery technology could end the American auto industry as we know it. And former President Donald Trump? He's not just furious. His response is nothing short of violent. Welcome to Global Pulse, your go-to channel for the stories reshaping our world. Today, we're unpacking the seismic clash that's rocking the auto industry. BYD's game-changing battery, their audacious vow to crush American carmakers, and Trump's fiery, headline-grabbing retaliation. This is a story of technology, economics, geopolitics, and raw emotion. So, grab a seat, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into the drama. Quick question for you. Can a Chinese EV giant like BYD really topple titans like Ford and GM? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. Let's start with the player at the center of this storm, BYD. Who are they, and why are they sending shockwaves through Detroit? BYD, short for Build Your Dreams, isn't some fly-by-night startup. Founded in 1995 in Shenzhen, China, they kicked off as a battery manufacturer, churning out power cells for everything from phones to laptops. But in the early 2000s, they pivoted to electric vehicles, and boy, did they hit the gas. Today, BYD is the world's second-largest EV maker, trailing only Tesla. In 2024 alone, they sold over 3 million vehicles globally, from sleek sedans to buses and trucks. Their secret sauce? The Blade battery, a lithium-ion phosphate marvel that's rewriting the EV rulebook. This battery is cheaper to produce, lasts longer, and has a range of up to 400 miles on a single charge. Oh, and it's practically fireproof. Tests show it can be punctured or crushed without sparking a blaze, unlike some rival batteries that have made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Compare that to the pricier, less efficient batteries in many American EVs, and you see why BYD's got Detroit sweating. Posts on X are buzzing with praise for BYD's affordability and reliability, with some users dubbing them the Tesla killer. But it's not just tech, it's scale. BYD's factories are pumping out EVs at prices that undercut Ford's Mustang Mach-E or GM's Chevy Bolt by thousands of dollars. How? China's lower labor costs, government subsidies, and BYD's iron grip on the battery supply chain. This isn't just a company, it's a machine built to dominate. Now, let's get to the bombshell that set this whole saga ablaze. In a recent press conference, a BYD executive didn't just talk big, they went nuclear. They claimed their Blade battery and ultra-affordable EVs could end the American auto industry by making gas-powered cars, and the companies banking on them, obsolete. This wasn't a subtle jab. It was a direct challenge to the legacy of Ford, GM, Stellantis, and every worker on their assembly lines. BYD's logic is brutal. Their EVs, starting as low as $20,000, are priced to kill. In Europe and Asia, they're already outselling local brands, with models like the BYD Atto 3 and Dolphin winning over buyers who can't afford Tesla's premium tags. Now, BYD's eyeing the U.S. market, and they're playing smart. Instead of shipping cars from China, they're planning factories in Mexico to skirt U.S. tariffs and leverage trade agreements like the USMCA. Web reports project BYD could capture 10 to 15% of the U.S. EV market by 2030 if they execute flawlessly. For American carmakers, this is a nightmare scenario. Ford's losing billions on its EV division. GM's Chevy Bolt is struggling to compete, and Stellantis is playing catch-up. Add in high U.S. labor costs and sluggish innovation, and Detroit's looking like a boxer on the ropes. Ex-users are divided. Some dismiss BYD as overhyped, pointing to brand loyalty for American trucks and SUVs. Others warn that Detroit's complacency could be its downfall, citing shuttered factories and layoffs as red flags. But one voice cuts through the noise, and it's louder than ever: Donald Trump. When news of BYD's claim hit, Trump didn't just react, he erupted. In a blistering speech that lit up social media, he called BYD's move economic warfare and accused China of trying to steal America's industrial soul. His solution? A scorched earth policy of 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs if he returns to the White House, plus incentives to bring back Detroit. But Trump's rhetoric went beyond policy. It was violent. He hinted at severe consequences for countries undermining American jobs, sparking wild speculation on X about what he meant. Economic sanctions? Trade bans? Or something more aggressive? Clips of his speech racked up millions of views, with supporters cheering his America First stance and critics slamming it as reckless posturing. Trump's no stranger to trade wars. His first term saw tariffs on Chinese goods that raised costs for American consumers but didn't fully revive U.S. manufacturing. Web analysis shows those tariffs increased car prices by about 5% without significantly boosting Detroit's output. X posts reflect the split. Some users hail Trump as a patriot fighting for blue-collar workers, while others call his threats a recipe for inflation and global tension. One thing's clear. Trump's not backing down, and his words are pouring fuel on an already tense showdown. So why does this matter? The American auto industry isn't just a business. It's a cornerstone of the economy and a symbol of national pride. It employs over 1 million people, from factory workers to engineers, and accounts for roughly 3% of U.S. GDP. If BYD's batteries and cheap EVs flood the market, the fallout could be catastrophic. Factories could close, supply chains could crumble, and entire towns built on car making could turn into ghost towns. Think Flint or Youngstown, but on steroids. Beyond jobs, it's about identity. The auto industry embodies America's legacy of innovation, from the Model T to the Mustang. BYD's challenge feels like an attack on that legacy, and it's stirring deep emotions. But there's another side to this. BYD's tech could be a wake-up call. Their Blade battery is pushing American firms to up their game. GM's partnering with LG Chem to develop better batteries. Ford's slashing EV production costs, and startups like Rivian are betting on American-made innovation. Some ex-users argue BYD's pressure could spark a renaissance in U.S. EVs, forcing Detroit to innovate or die. Others aren't so optimistic, pointing to China's stranglehold on the battery supply chain. Web reports show China controls 70% of global battery production, while the U.S. limps along at 10%. Closing that gap requires billions in investment, policy support, and time, things America is running short on. Let's dig deeper into Trump's strategy. His tariff threats are a classic play from his playbook. Hit hard, negotiate later. By making BYD's EVs pricier, tariffs could give American firms a fighting chance. He's also pushing for subsidies to boost U.S.-made EVs and tax breaks for companies that keep jobs stateside. Sound good, right? But here's the rub. Tariffs often backfire. They'd raise prices for consumers already stretched thin by inflation, and China could retaliate, targeting U.S. exports like agriculture, tech, or even cars. Remember the 2018 trade war? American soybean farmers took a hit when China slapped retaliatory tariffs. Ex-users are vocal about this. Some say Trump's protecting jobs. Others warn he's gambling with the economy. Then there's BYD's Mexico play. By building factories south of the border, they could dodge some tariffs under trade agreements, making Trump's threats less effective. Web sources suggest BYD's already cozying up to U.S. lawmakers, lobbying for lighter restrictions. Trump's violent rhetoric might rally his base, but it risks escalating tensions with China at a time when global supply chains are already fragile. Is this a plan to save Detroit or a high-stakes bluff? Now, let's talk about the bigger picture, the global EV race. BYD's rise isn't just a threat to America. It's a signal of how fast the auto industry is changing. EVs are the future, with global sales projected to hit 30 million annually by 2030. China's leading the charge, thanks to companies like BYD, NIO, and XPeng, backed by massive government support. The U.S., meanwhile, is playing catch-up. Biden's administration pushed hard for EV adoption, with tax credits and charging infrastructure, but adoption's lagging. Only 8% of U.S. car sales in 2024 were electric, compared to 25% in China. Ex-users point out the hurdles. EVs are still too expensive for most Americans. Charging stations are sparse outside cities, and range anxiety is real. BYD's cheap, reliable EVs could crack that market open, but at what cost? If American firms can't compete, the U.S. risks becoming a bystander in the EV revolution. Yet there's hope. Tesla's still a powerhouse, and American startups are innovating. The question is whether Detroit's legacy players can pivot fast enough. What about the workers caught in the crossfire? The auto industry's backbone is its people: welders, machinists, designers, and more. If BYD disrupts the market, job losses could ripple through communities. The United Auto Workers Union is already sounding alarms, demanding protections against foreign competition. Trump's tapped into this fear, framing BYD as a threat to the American dream. But tariffs alone won't save jobs if American EVs aren't competitive. Some users suggest retraining programs to shift workers into EV production or renewable energy. Others argue for a broader industrial policy to rebuild U.S. manufacturing. Web reports highlight pilot programs in Michigan and Ohio, where laid-off auto workers are learning battery assembly. It's a start, but scaling up takes time and money. For now, the human cost of this clash is a looming shadow. So, where do we go from here? BYD's Blade battery and aggressive expansion are a clarion call. Their claim to end the American auto industry isn't just bravado. It's a plausible threat if Detroit doesn't adapt. Trump's explosive response shows he's ready to fight, but tariffs and tough talk won't cut it alone. American carmakers need to innovate, cut costs, and win back consumers. The government needs to invest in batteries, chargers, and training. And consumers? They'll decide the winner by voting with their wallets. The stakes are sky high. Jobs, pride, and America's industrial future hang in the balance. On Global Pulse, we'll keep tracking this saga as it unfolds. Will BYD dominate? Or will Detroit rise from the ashes? Tell us your take in the comments. Before we wrap, a quick shout out. If this deep dive got your gears turning, smash that like button and subscribe to Global Pulse for more stories that shape our world. Hit the bell to stay in the loop. Want more on the EV revolution? Check out our playlist, link below. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Global Pulse.